All right. As many of you know, I fully and wholeheartedly support the LGBT community. Sorry, my hair's all messed up. I haven't been up very long. All right. So, a lot of people going all the way back to when Natalie first died, they want to go through and complain about everything until they finally get something that they can get me in trouble for. Except that much of these things, due to COVID, they just simply get away with it. See, I went through the appeal process. You don't get to appeal it right now because of COVID. So magically, these people get away with this. Unfortunately, they are again attempting to destroy evidence. And without an appeals process at all, they get to do so successfully. This is actual evidence. But then, of course, let's take a listen to most of the appeals that I did not get to have. Now, don't get me wrong, I am a foul mouthed son of a bitch, and I wholeheartedly admit it. I don't just admit it, I'm proud of it. You know what? People are being killed, people that I know are being killed, and you want to try to destroy my voice because you don't like what I have to say. Well, that's definitely against the First Amendment. Not that anybody who is poor is entitled to the First Amendment. So I was put on a Facebook ban today for 24 hours, which of course cuts me off from many of the people I'm able to communicate with. Now I got my beliefs, I'm pretty sure that it's Terry pissed off that the whole world knows the truth about at least both of her sons. Well, two out of three of her sons. She's not happy about it. Now I can get her off of my Facebook. I mean, she unblocked me, but after 48 hours, she can reblock me again. And, a lot of you might be saying, well, why didn't you block her? Well, give her the opportunity to actually be a decent excuse for a human being. To admit that she did wrong, confess up to it. That ain't that difficult. I do it every day. You can go through almost all of my videos and see where I screwed up, where I didn't say things perfectly. Now, the one that they just gave me, I tried to appeal it. It's a picture of me and a friend of mine who just happens to be, well, not straight. And she doesn't have to be straight. She doesn't owe it to the world to pretend that she's straight for you guys. So, getting a 24-hour Facebook ban for, and mind you, I don't know that Terry did this. You know, it might be just like with the Natalie situation. There might be people who are pissed off at me because Kim is pissed off at me or unhappy with me or displeased with me. People won't do a whole heck of a lot for Terry in this town. I mean, she's got a lot of friends and whatnot, but she doesn't even approach the popularity of her daughter. And if her daughter asked people to come hurt me, they would. And if people thought that hurting me might give them some prestige with her, they would. I mean, when I was assaulted by Zach Metcalf in high school, that was over Kim. It didn't need to be violent. He didn't need to put his hands on me. He didn't need to assault me. He did lose the fight, but it wasn't a fair fight, honestly. You know, he was bigger than me and all that. But the thing is, he'd never been in a fight before. Literally never been in a fight. So, starting a fight with me, who had been in, I don't know, 400 or 500 fights by that point, yeah, he stood about as much chance of sticking around as a fart in a windsock. Now, today, we live in a different world, don't we? I mean, first of all, he's got military training. I don't. Second of all, I am definitely not as physically in shape as I was in high school. I mean, I need to use a handrail to get up and down the stairs now. And even that's a pain. Now, there's no guarantee. You know, I mean, a lot of people claim to be Christians and just simply show that they're not. Don't bear false witness. If the things that she said that she wanted removed were not removed, and obviously they weren't, well, what's the next step? When you want to retaliate against someone for telling the truth, go out of your way to hurt them as much as possible. Now, obviously, many people in the Christian community have much hatred, a lot of hatred towards the LGBT community. Obviously, you listen to the conversation between my sister and I about my mother. Yeah, that ain't a good thing. It's not. You don't want to be persecuted, but you want to persecute the LGBT community. Not cool. You want to force other people to your belief system. Yeah, that's definitely not a good thing. I will stick up for my gay friends. That will happen. If you are offended by it, then go away. If you're offended by the fact that I told the truth, well, that's on you. If you're angry with me that I showed the truth, again, that is on you. Now, getting a Facebook ban that I can't defend myself against, well, that shows a great amount of animosity, and it also shows that people are, again, trying to destroy my evidence and harass me in a place where they can get away with it. Now, let's listen to one of the posts that I made. And of course, it's not a happy one, but it is for surely not what they claimed it is. This is from August 8th of 2019. That's right, August of 2019. I typed, "Hey, fuck Nugget. Stop turning me in for being fucking suicidal, you stupid snatch rag. You ever try actually giving a shit?" Now, obviously, what they complained about, they claimed it was graphic violence. Really? Well, holy shit. There is no violence in the post. There's no threats in the post. Now, there's a big difference between threatening to tell the truth and threatening to harm someone. Now, If people are afraid that the truth will harm them, that's not my fault. That's not my choice. That's not my decision. Not sure if you noticed, but I follow that particular rule. Don't lie. Do not bear false witness. And between telling the truth and being hateful at me, people are quite often hateful at me. Do as I say or I will harm you is what they are telling me loud and clear. Either I do what they want or they are going to try to harm me. Whether that be by destroying evidence, by cutting me off from people who might actually help, over and over and over and over again. Over and over and over again. Now, who is it that is primarily my abusers in these situations? It is people who claim to be Christians. You do what they want or they will hurt you. You do what they want or they will gang up on you and they will bullet you. Now, Facebook is aware that these things happen. Facebook is aware of it, and they have done nothing about it. They have done nothing about the bullying. They've done nothing about the destruction of evidence. They've done nothing about the harassment. And then, of course, this one right here, I was pissed off. I had just gotten off the Facebook ban over a post about suicide. And as soon as I got off the post, I was not happy. Hey, I wasn't trying to commit suicide. Now, this is the problem with Facebook. It's horrible. It's horrible. The truth will set you free, except on Facebook, it'll put you in jail. Facebook jail again. So, literally, we've got a bunch of trolls running around trying to destroy evidence, and somehow it's what, magically okay? It's okay for people to harass a human being this way. And then people don't like it when I am angry about the fact that I'm treated this way. I mean, here it is. We've got somebody who claimed that I was, well, it says graphic violence. There's no violence in this post. There are no threats in this post. Of course, it doesn't claim that there's a threat, it claims that it's graphic violence. It's not okay. This needs to be done in court. Now, of course, rather than being an actual human being about it, people want to go through and try to destroy evidence. Not okay. Now, of course, anybody who is my friend who watches this video can get on there and say, hey, Sean's on a Facebook ban because he supported the LGBT community. Now, I get that a lot of y'all that type things like I'll pray for you, that you're probably not in support of the LGBT community. And I'm going to let you know right now, I will support them regardless of what your opinion is on the matter. And don't get me wrong, many of my predators have been from the LGBT community. That does not make them all bad. Now, people going out of their way to try to destroy everything that I have built up in the last 5 years, trying to show what I have gone through at the hands of the Bollinger family, starting well before Natalie was ever killed. So there's a picture that was a picture between me and a friend of mine. I don't even get to appeal it. My picture is gone. I don't have access to it. It is gone. They removed a photograph. There is nothing inappropriate about the photograph between me and my friend. There is nothing wrong with me supporting the LGBT community. And it's time for people to stop. If you want to go out of your way to try to destroy evidence like Terry Jefferson is doing. Now, obviously, the thing on Facebook, I can't prove that it was her. At the same time, it is rampant harassment. It's not like I haven't gone through 5 years of this already. This woman who claims to love me, and she is literally attempting to push me to commit suicide. She is trying to destroy evidence of the abuse that I have gone through for the last 5 years because she doesn't like the fact that I told the truth. She doesn't like the fact that I showed the truth. I'm a better Christian than she is, and I'm not even a Christian. Do you like that judgment? I'm sure there's people in the LGBT community that if they heard that would go, that's right. It don't matter if you're gay or straight or bi or trans, you are still a human being to me. It doesn't matter if you are red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, or violet. It don't matter if you're black or white. You are still a human being to me. Now, I say we got to do better. A lot of people type that. We got to do better. We got to do better. Doing better starts with standing up for what's right and speaking out. My predators have gotten away with 5 years worth of abuse by calling me schizophrenic. Lovely, isn't it? You know that disabled people are abused every day, but when a disabled person comes to you for help, you blow them off. You blow them off. And then when they prove that you're blowing them off, that they're not really a human being to you, you don't like it. You don't like that you're exposed. You don't like the things that you did are shown. I admit my sins. I admit my wrongs. It's not that I don't believe in God. I'm a scientist. My religion is science. I believe in the possibility of a God, but science cannot prove nor disprove the existence of a God. And some of you confuse science with Scientology. This is not Scientology. Scientology is not my religion. And I'm not bashing Scientology. I am not bashing Christianity. But individuals within every community are going to obviously abuse that belief system. There are people who obviously hold animosity when you don't do what they want. When you don't just lay down and take it like they think that you should. Would they lay down and take it? I don't know. People have a bad habit of giving advice that they don't follow. And then they want to be angry if you're not able to follow it. Well, it's not working for you, is it? You're not following those pretty words, are you? See, that's the thing about going through what I've gone through. Lots of people wanted to type pretty words. Pretty words. Nasty. I have to be afraid because I tell the truth. I have to be afraid because I'm honest. When people say they care, I want to believe them. There's only so long I can actually keep that up. There's only so long that I can hold out hope that they're going to be honest, that they're going to tell the truth, that they're going to come forward. Going out of your way to destroy pictures of me and a friend of mine, that's messed up. Now I got people who are attacking my character and bullying me on Facebook and on YouTube all the time. All the time. Now there's a big difference between what these people are doing to me and what I'm doing. They're bullying and harassing and threatening, and in some cases, physically assaulting me. Now, thank goodness they can't assault me through the internet. But also, I'm not hiding behind the internet. I am dealing with this in real life. I spent 7 months locked up last year for crimes that weren't even committed. That is not okay. Meanwhile, my life doesn't matter. Nobody's going to take me seriously because a bunch of nut jobs want to pretend I'm a nut job. They want to go out of their way to hide the things that they've done, and that is not okay. It is not okay to destroy evidence. It's just not. Do I hold animosity towards these people? No, I'm disgusted by these people. When I say these people, I mean the bullies. I mean the harassers. I mean the people who want to go out of their way to destroy the truth. How can you claim to be Christian if you're trying to destroy the truth? How can you claim that you're a good nurse or a good doctor when you do what somebody with a badge tells you? When somebody with a badge comes in and tells you that someone is schizophrenic and you just believe them and write it down, that's gross. It's immoral and it's illegal. And the point that you do that, you as a nurse or a doctor are now committing a felony. You are now breaking the law. You want to believe them because they have a badge. I get that. Just like the courts here. Obviously, Judge Randon Roland is not a real judge. This guy got his friggin' degree out of a Cracker Jack box. The man has no morality whatsoever. Now, let me say that again. Judge Randon Roland. I'm going to say it again. Judge Randon Roland repeatedly denied me my rights because of the actions of the Dual County Sheriff's Department and their goons. I was locked up for 7 months so that I could not turn in evidence against Robert Warnick. They took this phone away so that I couldn't get it repaired and couldn't show the evidence against Robert Warnick where he assaulted me. What incentive do the crooked cops in this town have to tell the truth? What incentive does Terry Jetson have to tell the truth? They don't have any. Now, with Terry, I would say her religion, but obviously she's not a practitioner. It's just pretty words for her. That's not my fault. That's not my decision. You know, when I did go to church, it wasn't some hatred towards the Almighty that made me leave. It was the congregation. It was the sheer quantity of anti-LGBT stuff, but not just that. Going to church and they're trying to teach you to hate gay people. And they're trying to teach you to hate Muslims. They're persecuting Muslims and persecuting the LGBT community, and then they want to whine about how they're being persecuted. Meanwhile, anybody who tells the truth must be punished. That is what they have shown with their actions. Now, obviously, Terry, and I'm sorry, I might have said Terry Duffield. If I did, I apologize. None of this is Terry Duffield's doing. None of it's her fault. Now, there is stuff that Terry Duffield can testify to, like that wheelchair. You know, Natalie got into a car accident. Her leg was all busted to hell. There was a lot of mobility issues that she had, and yeah, I brought her a wheelchair. Terry Duffield's not the only one who could speak up about that. Melody Harms could speak up. Laura Nelson could speak up. That's right. Not only did we plan the trip together for Virginia, but yes, I bought a wheelchair for Natalie. Apparently, because I'm supposed to be a horrible stalker person. But then again, the messages that are up here show that everything with Natalie was a lie. Strange thing about Natalie is that she was both a member, well, when she died anyway. When I knew her, she wasn't a Christian. She was a part of the LGBT community. Now, when she died, she was apparently Christian and part of the LGBT community. And y'all get to hear all of this rampant hatred from the Christian community about all of these horrible things that they're wishing upon the LGBT community. I see things that you may not agree with and you may not like, but there's a big difference between telling the truth and bullying. A lot of you were pissed off that I tell the truth. Most of you, you were fine with me telling the truth until I told the truth about you. Well, you had every opportunity to tell the truth yourself. Now that you want to be angry with me because I showed the truth, now you're going to outright lie over and over and over again? Well, that ain't okay. Now, I've got a friend of mine that's on Facebook who is having some issues and might possibly be suicidal. Am I going to do the things that are done to me? No, that may push her over the edge. But also the fact that I'm not there to listen to her may push her over the edge. I can't get a hold of her for 24 hours. Let's hope she doesn't have a state of crisis between now and then. Let's hope that she doesn't do something harmful to herself, because I'm not there to speak to her. Now, I don't hate Christians. I really don't, but there aren't a whole lot of real Christians, are there? There aren't a lot of people who do what Jesus did, is there? The most Christ-like people that I know are all atheists. All of them. See, many of the Christians that I know, they use the afterlife as an excuse to ignore the harmful things that happen to others here. And most of the atheists that I know, they want to put that footwork in here while they're on this planet in the hopes of making things better by the time that they leave this earth. Make it better for future generations. I believe wholeheartedly in the separation of church and state. I'm not going to make my decisions based on old wives' tales. I'm not going to make my decisions based on your superstitions, and I don't owe it to you to do that. I don't owe it to you to hate the people that you hate. I just don't. I've got a lot of friends that are gay. That is one of the points of contention between me and my mother. My mom hates gay people. She doesn't like them at all. My mom also hates Mexicans. Is it really that difficult to see another human being as a human being? Instead of focusing on them being LGBT, pay attention to the fact that they are still a human being. Instead of hating somebody because they're Hispanic or Mexican, why don't you recognize them as a human being? My mom's excuse for hating all Mexicans is that one Mexican did something bad to her a long, long time ago. Now, according to her, her father did the same things. Her father is white. Does my mother hate all white people? No, just Mexicans. The rules are magically different because of a skin color for her. That's gross. Now, obviously, the picture that is considered inappropriate, it's a picture with a caption in support of the LGBT community. This picture was taken at Pride Fest in Denver, Colorado. Any of you who know what that is? That's LGBT Pride. Pride Fest. A lot of people are angry. They say that the LGBT community shouldn't be up in our faces like that. Well, with all due respect, you and your family are all up in their face and have no problems with it, do you? When you're with your husband and posting up pictures, and you've got pictures of you and your husband as a straight couple, and you think that that should be fine, but you believe that the LGBT community should have to hide it, that they should have to hide under a rock. No, these are still people. I've had to do desperate things because people wanted to claim that I was schizophrenic, call me mentally ill, and loosely associate it with schizophrenia. When that wasn't enough, these officers outright lied to hospital staff. Was I diagnosed with schizophrenia? No. I mean, yes, the police diagnosed me with it. Scott DaCosta diagnosed me with it. He's not a doctor. He cannot make that diagnosis. He's a predator that I was trying to turn in. He has every incentive to tell these lies. And of course, many of you guys have followed this. I mean, through all of this, yeah, they have tried to pretend. First, very loosely, they tried to pretend that I was schizophrenic, and when that wasn't enough, yeah, of course they did. Of course, they went out of their way to commit felonies because this man is looking at a lot of prison time. He could literally spend the rest of his life behind bars for what he's done. That is a lot of incentive for lying. That is a lot of incentive for committing felonies. That is a lot of incentive to abuse your position. So when Terry, after going through all of my YouTube and trying to have everything destroyed, and I get a bunch of, let me find my phone. I'll show you. I'll show you what I ended up with. I'm a big fan of speaking out, but I'm also a big fan of not just speaking the truth, but actually showing it. Now, what's the picture? I was thinking about trying to buy another computer because everything is full. Now, this right here is close enough for the time being. All right, let's see. No, that wants to take another picture. All right, I'm sorry, this is a new device. I'm learning how to use it now. It said, you disagreed with the decision. We usually offer the chance to request a review and follow up if we got decisions wrong. We have fewer reviewers available now because of the coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak. So basically, COVID is allowing many people to break the law and get away with it. And it is against the law to do this, by the way. This does fall under harassment. It says, we have fewer viewers available right now because of the coronavirus, COVID-19 outbreak. We are trying hard to prioritize reviewing content with the most potential for harm. They're not going to review mine. Obviously, it doesn't have a great potential for harm. But it says, this means we may not be able to follow up with you, though your feedback helps us. Thank you for understanding. But they don't allow me to give feedback. See if it'll focus. Probably not. Maybe if we make it really close and pull it out slowly. Oh, yes, this is aggravating. I'm trying hard to do this with my technical abilities. I suppose I should consider myself lucky that I'm able to take the pictures. It says, this means we may not be able to follow up with you, though your feedback helps us do better in the future. Thank you for understanding. I don't understand. I don't understand how these things are allowed. I don't understand why it is that I'm not allowed to show the truth. I don't understand why it is that police officers can try to pretend that I'm schizophrenic and magically all of their crimes go away. All of the crimes of all of my predators magically go away. Now I gotta already be real skittish and on edge and walk on eggshells with what I post. There's a lot of reason for that. Pretty much anything I post, people are going to go through and try to destroy evidence. And it's not just the evidence of their wrongdoing that they're going to destroy. It's years of abuse, years of documented abuse. And of course, years of me being pissed off about that abuse. And I have every right to be. Here. This is the post that goes against community standards, apparently. That was taken at Pride Fest in 2016 or 2017. By the way, the lady in the picture is one of the ones who threw me away like I was trash. For over a year before Natalie was killed, I was trying to get help. Nearly everybody that I went to for help blew me off. I just simply didn't matter. Now, a lot of people want to say, well, you can't make people care. You're right, I can't. At the same time, I'm not going to go running around trying to destroy evidence. I'm just simply not going to. I am a better human being than that. Which is more than I can say for my predators. It's more than I can say for predators like Scott DaCosta. It's more than I can say for predators like Judge Randon Rowland. It's more than I can say for predators like Jared Hahn. And now at this point, for predators like Terry Jeffson. If you are attempting to destroy evidence, you don't get to pretend to me that you're a good person. I'll call you out. Plain and simple. God, that one little tuft of hair there is weirding me out. Kind of reminds me of, God, what was that rooster from the Bugs Bunny and Tweety show? Train. I'm not sure if you can hear the train going by. You probably heard that. the horn going off. Now, obviously, I've been a lot more calm, a lot more steady since being able to show that, yeah, I'm not schizophrenic. In order to try to peg me that way, there's two parts to it. Number one, you have to make your claims and abuse your badge in order to make those claims and have people listen. Automatically, you're right because you have a badge. And that's only part of it. The other part is guaranteeing that the person that you're making these claims against is not allowed to show the evidence that you're lying. Scott DaCosta, like most of the officers I know, he's incapable of honesty. He has abused his position for 4 years to try to hide the wrongdoings of his deputies. And of course, his wrongdoings as well. Now, when Natalie first died, I went to him to try to find out who the dual county deputy and the 2 state patrol officers who took me to the Sydney hospital in January 2017. That should not have been incredibly impossible for him to find. But for some odd reason, after 5 years, this man has not done anything to investigate any of the crimes against me. Now, he did, after several years, finally go over and talk to Laura Nelson. And Laura told me that he was asking leading questions. He wasn't interested in the truth. He was trying to claim that I was in love with Natalie Bollinger. And of course, Laura set him straight, according to her. But did she say those things in court? She also told me that she got the feeling that it was unfinished because obviously he hadn't asked any of the questions that he should have asked her. But then again, Laura Nelson is now hiding behind religion. Yeah, I don't want to go to her church. For surely, I don't want to go to her church. Now, the pastor at her church is Rod Wright. Rod Wright has evidence that shows that I was trying to turn in Robert Warnick. And there's also evidence on here recording with me and Sean Holloway and Laura Nelson and Scott DaCosta. Scott DaCosta is literally playing stupid, going out of his way to just continually interrupt me the whole time that I'm speaking. Laura just sat there. There's stuff in that video that Laura verifies, but she nods because she's too afraid to stand up to the supposed Christians in this town. If there is a God, God made all of us. He made us how we are. But at the same time, I don't put any stock in that. When I was younger, I got into magic, right? Now, thousands of years ago, the tricks that I know would have wooed and amazed the masses. 2,000 years ago, the sleight of hand that I learned would have made me a powerful person. 500 years ago, it would have gotten me burned at the stake as a witch. Now, there's several religions that I very much like. Now, paganism, there are a lot of different types of paganism. Then, of course, we've got Wicca, which, well, some of Terry's family is into that. They're into witchcraft and so on and so forth. And of course, it's not witchcraft like you see on the movies where people are casting spells and there's all these bright colors and bright lights. And no, it's mostly getting candles and burning incense and hoping for bad things to happen to people that you don't like. In many of these cases, a lot of young women who get into witchcraft, it's because they're bullied. They're bullied over and over and over by the Christian community, and they just don't want to have nothing to do with it. A lot of them will sit down and burn these candles and hope that their bullies have bad things happen to them. But then there's, of course, the power of three. This is part of that religion. When you go according to the power of three, if you visit harm upon others with your magic, it'll come back on you threefold. And, I don't believe in all of that stuff, of course. But also, these religions were the beginning of modern science. And a lot of people don't count modern science until, well, depending on who you are, I guess. Some people consider that modern science was allowed by the Catholic Church. Well, that's not entirely true. See, these different systems of beliefs, a lot of their belief was to live in harmony with nature. Like aspirin. Aspirin comes from a tree. A lot of people used aspirin before we even got here. Animism is considered a form of paganism, and most of the Native American religions before we got here were animism. And, that's, of course, that the animals are the gods, Depending on which Native American origin story that you hear, it might be a crow that created man, it might be a fox. Even heard one story that it's an otter. So now I'm being targeted for supporting the LGBT community. I'm getting put in Facebook jail for supporting the LGBT community. By Facebook. Now there's another origins of science story. This is the one that is most popular among occultists and people who like watching weird channels on the History Channel. The History Channel used to teach history. Now it's Pawn Stars and Aliens. Thanks for the history, bud. But that other origin story on science, what is it? Alchemy. The idea that you can turn mercury or lead into gold. A lot of people, that's their favorite story. That's their favorite science origins story. But really, modern science goes back a lot further than that. The oldest modern surgical tools are almost 7,000 years old. In modern day, we're starting to use things that people stopped using a long time ago, like scalpels made of glass, obsidian in specific. Those of you who are into Game of Thrones, it's dragon glass. That's right. That's obsidian. And it can get up to 100 times sharper than any surgical steel. That's why the Aztecs used it for their human sacrifices. Now, is that me promoting human sacrifice? No, it's not. It's me telling you history. You're getting a free history lesson here. But there are definitely going to be people who don't want to hear it. People who are going to want to pretend that because I am talking about this, that it means that I am promoting violence using obsidian, and absolutely not. I am absolutely not promoting violence. But this is much of what I got to deal with. I got to deal with people trying to destroy evidence for many different reasons. The primary reason is that they're hypocrites. My religion says that it is okay for me to judge you, blah, 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 blah. Now, I was watching a thing from, I believe it was T.D. Jakes, on how we all deserve to die. I mean, he went off on it. And I'm going to try to find it here. Maybe even play a little bit for you. And he talks about how we all deserve to die because we're all sinners. And of course, I'm not allowed to say that. T.D. Jakes can say it. Because of his religion, it makes it magically okay. I can't say it because I'm not of his religion. I can't repeat the things that he said. Well, that's wrong. I thought we had a First Amendment in this country. We don't, obviously. I believe it was T.D. Jakes. Let's see. It's all about the stones. Nothing just happens. In the beginning, God. Making peace with your past. This is not the time to lose your head. You can still get there. Defying the urge to quit, part 1. I'm not quitting, T.D. Jakes. By the way, T.D. Jakes, my mom has a T.D. Jakes women's Bible. I don't quite get why a man is writing a woman's Bible, but yeah. The courage to change course, how to overcome crushing pain, don't drop the mic. I suppose. Now, a lot of the reason for this is there's a part of the Bible where Jesus is preaching to a bunch of people. I'm sorry, this is taking a while. Obviously, I'm a finger pecker. That's how I type. On this, I got to hold it with one hand so that it's steady and do it with one finger. All right. It says the Bible on why we all deserve to die. Now it takes me to Sweeney Todd Epiphany lyrics. Sweeney Todd, we all deserve to die. Epiphany, misquoting Jesus in the Bible. Um, Professor Bart D. Ehrham. Now that's an hour and 35 minutes long. Oh, here's one. How many people did God kill in the Bible? A lot. A whole lot. God, according to the Bible, is the single greatest mass murderer to ever exist. Why does God allow so much evil and suffering? Where do we go when we die? Now, I'm sure some of these actually have that in it, where they talk about that portion of the Bible, where Jesus is talking to all those people and he's telling them about all these sins and about how we all deserve to die because we sin, basically. Now, a lot of the Christians that I know, they use this as an excuse to harm people. They try to claim that because Jesus said that these people will die, that it's okay for them to go kill these people. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of how many of the LGBT community has been killed by supposed Christians, but it's a pretty friggin' big number. Now, obviously, me being of Hebrew descent, my ancestors were thrown in the ovens by the Germans during World War II. They were forced into horrible, horrible positions and harmed greatly and murdered on a mass scale. But I'm not going to pretend that the Nazis did not do the exact same thing to the LGBT community. They absolutely did. They did horrible, horrible things. And now it's difficult to tell a Christian from a Nazi. You hear their propaganda and the hatred that they push on us. Try to tell us that it's homosexuals' fault that the stuff that's going on in the world is going on. They want to blame everything on all of these groups that they have been taught to hate. There are individuals within the LGBT community that I don't agree with and don't get along with. I don't have to. I don't have to agree with you or get along with you to see you as a human being. Five years of every excuse that law enforcement can make not to do their jobs. 5 years of phone calls that they want to pretend didn't even happen. Meanwhile, those phone calls are on here. People are dead because they didn't want to do their job. Now, rather than stop and go, well, maybe we should do our job, they outright refuse to do their job, and then they want to play victim because I'm trying to get them to do their fucking job. You're damn right I speak out. You are absolutely right. I speak out. Now, these attacks on my Facebook and these attacks on my evidence and these attempts to destroy evidence are felonious. They absolutely are. Without your support, this continues to happen. I'm not talking about pretty words. Telling me you're sorry is not support. It's just not. It's just pretty words. Support means that you are speaking out. You are sharing these things. You are showing these things. Instead of telling me you're sorry, you can't do nothing. No, you absolutely can. You can speak out. You can say, hey, this is wrong. It is wrong the way that this man has been treated. It is wrong that this man who is not schizophrenic has had all of his rights denied because police officers who did wrong Want to run around pretending like you're schizophrenic. The only way that these people have gotten away with what they've done is by outright refusing my constitutional rights by pretending I'm schizophrenic over and over and over again, using the term mentally ill to justify their sins and justify their crimes. Now, then there's repenting. Repenting is a major part of the Christian religion, and I do repent. Repenting doesn't mean that right before you die, you say, hey, forgive me. No, you didn't earn that forgiveness. You did horrible things in your life knowing that they were horrible things. You allowed innocent people to be harmed because you didn't want to tell the truth or because you outright lied. Repenting means that, number one, you profess by mouth your sins. I profess mine here on YouTube and on Facebook. I admit my sins. How horrible must I be? But that's not all of it. You also have to try to make reparations for what you have done. Now, there are obviously situations where you can't do that. If you tell a lie and it gets people killed, you can't repay those people for their lives. That life is gone forever. It's not coming back. So in that situation, you cannot repay that life that you took. Much of the Christian community wants to persecute all of us who are not. Now, I got to go through the whole Facebook thing in order to get something done. That sucks. It sucks that I can't get a single person to do their job because all of the people that I have to go to have committed multiple felonies against me to hide their own crimes, and I have to go to these very officers. It's pretty obvious by now that I'm the victim. Now, these agencies that we're supposed to go to when we're abused, they're supposed to do something about this abuse, not look the other way, but they are too cowardly to stand up to the cops. That's not my fault. That's not my choice. That's not my decision. See, through all of this, the law has been ignored. Every step of the way, the law has been ignored. They had to ignore the law in order to get away with their crimes. We're not talking sins here now. We're talking actual crimes committed by the Dual County Sheriff's Department repeatedly over the last 5 years. Now, I do make a distinction between the crimes that were committed before Natalie was killed and the crimes that were committed after, but they were entirely different. Before, I was blown off every time that I went in to try to turn in what was going on. After she was dead, they were well invested and well entrenched in hiding the things that they've done, hiding the fact that they blew me off. I mean, it's pretty obvious that, yes, I was taken to the hospital in January of 2017, over a year before Natalie was killed. over the things that Natalie and her friends were putting me through. Scott DaCosta went out of his way not to find those things. He went out of his way not to look those things up. He went out of his way to hide which officers it was that showed up that night. Something that he continues to this day. If they refuse to do their jobs until the statute of limitations is over, it magically makes it okay. And that's why I needed people to speak up about what they knew. But then they want to be angry because I showed with their own words the things that they should have come forward about to begin with. Bad things didn't happen to me because I deserve it. Bad things happened to me because the people who were supposed to care did not. And then they're angry that I proved that they did not. A decent person would not have argued with me for an entire year and talked over me for an entire year when I'm trying to tell them about the abuse that I'm enduring at the hands of Natalie Bollinger's junkie friends. And then I got to deal with the police and we can't do anything about opinions. We can't do anything about opinions. Do something about the fucking assaults, asshole. Obviously, not only did Dual County repeatedly not do their job, they repeatedly abused me because they didn't have to do their jobs. That abuse somehow magically justified them not doing their jobs. Them abusing their power somehow magically justified them not doing their jobs. These people target disabled people for a reason, and you look away. Yes, this is your fault that this happens. Your fault because you look away. You look away because it's not happening to you. And if it does happen to you, you've either got support and actual help in person, or you do the same thing that I do. You try to get help, and you get treated like trash. Now, there's a lady who's reaching out to me, and she's had a real tough time. You know how it is when you're doing a video and your Facebook has got a messenger coming up. A lot of people, when I was Facebook banned for things that are not against Facebook regulations, it's just an algorithm. People wanted to get a hold of me while I'm on a Facebook ban. And then they wanted to get angry and pissed off and throw me away and block me because I didn't answer them immediately. I couldn't. So then I'm being punished by these people for something that wasn't my choice. Now, of course, we got a couple of people over here in the live chat that are typing that, of course, they're the spammers. And what do we do to spammers? That's right. Let's grab a hold of the mouse here. We'll go over to the three dots next to it. It gives you a bunch of options: pin message, report, remove, put user in timeout, or hide user on this channel, or add as moderator. No, this person is not going to be a moderator. Reporting it, well, that might do something, but I mean, it's spam. It's not threats. Removing it, well, they're still able to post on my next video. If I hide user on this channel, they have to make another profile to do this, and many people have done so. The horrible thing, though, is that I have posted up so much evidence of the crimes that are committed against me. And no matter what, it's ignored by law enforcement, and it's ignored by the courts. This is not where I should have to post this stuff. But without someone actually in my corner, I'm pretty well screwed. Now, all of this abuse was allowed based on the belief that I was schizophrenic. Now, you've gotten to hear from somebody who is capable of diagnosing schizophrenia that I am not schizophrenic. Now, what's the difference between her and the state doctors? When I had to see the state doctors, I did not have access to that evidence. It was all stolen from me. And y'all think it's okay. You think that a 5-year witch hunt is okay. Terry is pissed off because her very own words show that I went to her for help. A lot of people wanted to be angry with me for showing that, yes, I did try to get help, both before and after Natalie was killed. But there are certain lies that if you tell them, the law no longer matters. The law no longer applies. People can do whatever they want to you. And it's not okay. Meanwhile, I need a real lawyer. I can't afford a real lawyer. In order to actually have a real lawyer, I need people to actually speak up and tell the truth and tell what they know. Now, there's a lot of people, I gave them plenty of chance to come forward on their own. Plenty of chance, plenty of opportunity. Now, of course, there was more than one of these over here, so we're going to do what we do, aren't we? Hide user on this channel. So easy. If only it was that easy in real life. Instead, I have to be afraid to leave the house. I have to be afraid because everybody, despite the sheer quantity of evidence, wants to show me that they're more interested in protecting my predators than doing their jobs. I'm not paranoid from a chemical imbalance. I am paranoid from experience. These people have done this over and over and over and over again. Now, this lady who's messaging me, as soon as I click on it to see what it is, it shows that I saw it. But it's not going to tell her I'm on a Facebook ban, is it? Of course it's not. Now, at the very beginning, it wouldn't allow you to message people on Facebook at all. Now, it might allow me to message her now. I know that a lot of people that were on Facebook bans were able to message me later on, of course. Back when all of this first started, people were going out of their way to call everything spam so that I couldn't communicate with the people that I needed to communicate with. And yes, that frustrated me. And when I finally was able to talk to these people, they didn't take the time to understand. Many of them just blocked me outright. Like, hey man, I reached out to you and you just ignored me. Like, no, I didn't. I was on a Facebook ban and couldn't communicate. So let's type to this person and see if it works. Well, it looks like it did send, which is a good thing. There's a lot of people that told me things that they should have come forward about. Like Amanda Engeline obviously knew more than she let on when I was up there in Montana in 2018. Because while I was being harassed pretty much nonstop by the Paytons, the Payton family, they're from Lodgepole, Nebraska, next county over. The same county that Sandy Fromm, one of my predators, lives in. The same county that Chris Kurth drove from Dual County across jurisdictional borders to go to Sandy Fromm's to threaten to kill me with another individual. Now, I recorded a conversation with Sandy Fromm and posted it up, and she didn't like it. But it was about Chris Kurth coming out there and threatening to kill me. I am afraid of Dual County Sheriff's Department because of what they have repeatedly done. I'm afraid to reach out for help because you're going to give me pretty words. Tell me I just gotta love myself. A lot of people say, this ain't the right way to do it. This ain't the right way to do it. Are you helping me to do it the right way? Are you? Or are you going out of your way to try to destroy evidence that you didn't keep your word? Are you trying to destroy evidence that I went to you for help and you just blew me off? Yes, the world can see that. I'm not hiding anything. Now, there's stuff that I can't put out there. It will get me YouTube banned or Facebook banned, and so it doesn't go up. I show you what I can, what I'm allowed to. But I also have to, well, walk on eggshells. I got to make sure this evidence isn't destroyed before somebody actually cares enough to speak up. Not somebody who I have to beg to share the story. Oh, I care, I care, I care. And then, well, share the story. Look at the evidence. Show it. I'm sorry, I can't. I have court. Really? You can't share the truth on Facebook because you have court? That don't make any sense to me. And then finally you post one of them and say, see, I'm speaking out now. No, you're not. You put up one post. You notice that I've been through 5 years of abuse and I'm still speaking out. I'm still showing the evidence that I've been denied the right to show because I don't have a guardian. I don't have someone with my best interests at heart. I don't have someone to look at the evidence and speak up. That's the difference between the therapist that I have now and when I first started. Although it wasn't, I guess, my therapist who was on board. I guess it's my caseworker. But even in that case, my caseworker is completely different than the caseworker I started off with, because I started off with Tamara, who was down to help me to show what was going on so that I could protect myself from these people. And this is long before Natalie was killed. I mean, Tamara quit her job at least 6 months before Natalie was killed. I had let her know I was on a Facebook ban. She typed, "Oh no." These people are allowed to get angry at me. They're also allowed to punish me for being angry. I'm not allowed to be angry. If I'm angry, you pretend that I'm going to kill people. If I'm angry, you pretend I'm a horrible person and I'm a psycho. I am angry for a reason. My constitutional rights have been denied over lies, lies that I'm not allowed to defend myself against because of the lies. How is that okay? At least I told the truth. Loud and proud. I didn't hide it. When I told somebody they're an asshole, I didn't just do it there. I said it loud and proud right here. I'm proud of myself for sticking up to these monsters. I am proud of myself for standing up for the LGBT community. I am proud of myself for that. I am proud of myself for sticking up for minorities. I am proud of myself for sticking up for immigrants. I am proud of myself for standing up to the police and to the courts, where my supposed friends were too cowardly to do so. I am proud of myself. Low disk space. We need more space to install important updates. Select fix issues to get started. I guess that means I better end this video. I'll set that to the side because it's right over the part that I need to click on. Y'all be safe, all right? And please try to see each other as human beings. People were allowed to write down whatever slander that they wanted. And to this day, I have never been allowed to defend myself against the slander nor the rampant violence that has come of it. You can hear in the videos with Scott DaCosta that he's trying to intimidate me over and over. Just because somebody talks calmly does not mean they're not trying to intimidate you. When he came over here and intimidated my roommate using his children and threats of CPS, it worked. He was able to intimidate my roommate. He was able to make my roommate afraid to speak up. By threatening his fucking kids. How messed up is that? How moral is that? Laura Nelson is aware of a lot of what's going on. If she wants to use her religion to hide behind, she's showing that she doesn't actually belong to that religion, because the religion that she has chosen says that that's wrong. I know I've read the book more than once.